St. Omar King, hello and good morning. Afternoon, this side of heaven. Yeah.
I'm fine. Sorry for joining late. I've been busy.
It's okay. I think I can
So
understand it. You're in the, where are you?
yeah,
Nigeria or the UK?
yeah. I'm in the UK presently.
Okay. It's good to have you here. Thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for being here. So I'm going to start with
You're
you. I'm
welcome.
yet to connect with Dr. Ojebo. I think I'm having a little
Okay.
situation with him. So I'm going to just start off with you.
Okay.
Dr. Fred promises to join in a few minutes from now. So
Okay.
let's begin. Let's begin.
All right. No
Yeah.
worries.
Say hello to Nigeria.
Okay. Hello, Nigeria. Hello, Nigeria Info FM.
Hello,
And
Nigeria.
thanks for having me on the show,
It
at
is.
least to discuss and chat the way forward, at least
Yeah.
concerning healthcare practice in Nigeria.
Yes. So first of all, let's even go the way backward. You're in the
Okay.
UK. I'm assuming that I'm gonna put it straight, and you're gonna tell me the detail. You didn't escape, or did you? You know that
No,
thing?
I did not escape. I'm still a resident doctor in Nigeria.
Okay.
I just took some study leave
Okay.
to go and further more and gain more experience in the field of trauma and orthopedics, and then to come back to the country to contribute my quota.
Okay. So you'll
And
be
so
coming back. When
that
are
is
you
it.
coming back? Hope
Well,
to
I
come back.
plan coming back hopefully by next year, but it depends on how long the training is really.
Okay.
So
Um.
that's it, because I took some time off from my residency training to actually do this.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
doctors are still on strike. They've been on strike for weeks.
I'm
Um,
aware.
yeah, and I think for me, it's that I don't know why doctors. I mean, I think I understand why doctors are on strike, but I think there's a deeper detail as to why doctors are choosing to be on strike, knowing the consequences of their choosing to be on this strike. The people who get to suffer, or people who get to bear the brunt of doctors' actions. What are some of the realities that doctors face, which has also fueled, the reason for the strike?
Okay, if I may start this way, one thing we must all understand is that doctors are not spirits or angels, in quote. We are also human beings with flesh and blood running through our veins. We've got families to take care of. We've got responsibilities which require money as well to take care of. I cannot remember the last time I went to any shop or any eatery and the legal tender is that I'm a doctor. If I'm supposed to exchange goods and services with anybody, I think the legal tender still remains money in Nigeria. And by so doing, if I'm not getting paid, if I have invested the little money that I've had in training and I'm expecting that the government should pay me back, I think, and the money is not coming forth, I think it is expedient that we get a kind of reaction from the doctors as well. I will give you an example. Now, this is a real life example. I will not mention the doctor's name, but he's a junior colleague of mine who presently, the last time he got salary was in February. He got
Oh,
married. Yeah, he got married in February. And shortly after that, he got paid February salary. And that was the last time he got salary. What do you want him to feed on? What do you want his new wife to feed on? At least, I mean, I can imagine the wife saying, "Oh, thank God I got married to a doctor. At least certain part of my upkeep should be taken care of." But the truth is that the last time that doctor got a penny was in February, and is working in a federal teaching hospital. Not to talk of my colleagues in the States that are being on salaries ranging from 6 months to 10 months to 18 months. how do you want their children to go to school? So let us look at the situation from the doctor's point of view for the first time. And you expect such a doctor to keep working. You expect such a doctor to keep giving his best. You will agree with me that that is virtually impossible.
I agree.
If the doctor makes a mistake, we, the members of the public, will be the first to run to the courts for litigations. But nobody cares about the well-being of the doctor. Nigerians, including the government, is not looking at the life of a doctor holistically. It is easy for us to quote the Hippocratic Oath. It is easy for us to say, after all, your work is sacrificial. But like I said, that doctor is flesh and blood as well. He's got blood running through his veins. He's got family, and he's got responsibilities to take care of.
So, I was speaking to a doctor recently, and he mentioned a rough estimate as to how much the average doctor earns. And he says that that figure has been the situation for years. And he says that nobody is talking about the fact that with inflation and the devaluation of the naira, that the doctor practically is earning far less than he did a number of years back. Can you speak on that?
That person is absolutely correct. As at the time when the Consolidated Medical Salary Scheme came into play, I think as at that time, $1 was about 150, 160 naira. You agree with me that there's virtually nothing that we produce in Nigeria. We depend largely on imported products. So whatever happens to the dollar affects almost everything, including foodstuff in the market. Now, as at present, officially, the dollar is about, I think about 5 something. I don't know the exact figure now because it just keeps, it keeps going up, and then you can wake up tomorrow and you meet it at another price. But I think it's in the range of
560 something.
To put it at 560 something.
Yeah.
You understand? Now, can you calculate this about 400% rise as at when the Consolidated Medical Salary Scale was instituted?
Do us a favor. Give us, say, an average amount so that we can thoroughly imagine a picture.
Now, like I said, it was about 160 then. So let's put it, quote and unquote, the doctor earns about $500 to maybe $600 per month as at that time.
No, I mean Nigerian naira. $500 as at when the exchange was 160 is enormous.
Yeah. Well, in Nigerian naira,
it's like America is your dream. You're only thinking in dollars, huh? Like, come on.
No, it is not my fault, because the truth is that if you actually want to be realistic, you understand, you have to, if you are talking about commerce, then you have to speak in language of the currency that is traded all over the world, and which is the US dollars. Another thing that you want to talk about is, if you want to look at that, then you can start talking about in gold, because those are the legal tender that is acceptable everywhere all over the world.
But that's not necessarily how you bargain. I get it. I get you where you're coming from, but that's not how you bargain. Like, that's not even how the government thinks. The government is not necessarily checking gold out.
The
government isn't thinking
what I'm trying to put to you is that the earning power of a doctor, as that when the Consolidated Medical Salary Scheme was in place, compared to what it is now, has been cut to more than half, if not more. So if you are earning, let's say, just for example, let's put it that if you are earning about 200,000 as at when the commerce was put in place.
Help us. What year was that? Can you remind us? What year was that? Because I think I heard 2006.
Commerce was put in place in 2006, 2007. It didn't get instituted until 2010. Some centers started in 2014. And as we speak, some states have not even started paying 100% commerce. There are only few states in Nigeria that pays 100% commerce. So that is where we are presently. So so let's put it at 2006, 2007, the doctor is earning about 200,000. Today, is still earning the same 200,000. You will agree with me with the inflation of things and everything. The earning and the purchasing power of that particular doctor has been severely reduced. So that is the situation that we find ourselves. Now, to make matters worse, it's not only that it has been severely reduced, the salaries are not even coming in as at when due for some of my colleagues.
What are some of the reasons given as to why doctors are being owed salaries? There's got to be a reason, an explanation of some sort.
Well, I was listening to the part of the government some few days back, and they were claiming that some of those doctors were not properly employed.
Oh.
And I asked myself, what do you mean by the doctor is not properly employed?
Oh.
In every health institution, there is a place of what we call locum services. Now, what happens in the health institution is this. Because of the administrative bottlenecks in government, if a doctor exits the system, that it exits, for example, the residency training program, or for example, housemanship or internship, it takes about nothing less than 2 months to about 1 year for you to replace that particular doctor. Now, you will agree with me that the health of the people cannot wait for 2 months. The health of the people cannot wait for 1 year for it to be taken care of. So these chief medical directors are saddled with the responsibility of making sure that there's continuation of service.
Absolutely.
So by so doing, they bring in doctors on locum services.
So hold on a second. Pardon me. I want to go off on a break. You're going to complete this thought when we return.
All right, no worries.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We'll be right back.
Youth
Asia's leading copy trading platform presents Learn to Earn seminars where you learn how to use our fintech platform and start an online business, growing a daily income on global markets. Join our expert, Michael Akinagbe, in Ikeja on either Thursday 23rd or Friday 24th September. Registration's free when you WhatsApp the word LA1 to 01-700-4340. Seats are limited. Register today and learn to earn with Share for You. That's SHARE4YOU. Share for You. And 30.
99.3 Nigeria Info, your number one station for talk. Let's talk.
Nigeria Info. You are on the sunny side. My name is Joyce. Yes, it's good to have you there. And we have our Dr. Tokwe Johnson Omokende. Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
Pardon me. Okay, please continue. Finish your thoughts, please. Go ahead.
So, like I was saying, the chief medical directors are saddled with the responsibilities of continuation of service And by so doing, they are forced to bring in some of my colleagues at different cadres, as house officers, as residents, both at the junior and the senior level, so that they can temporarily fill in the gaps of those that have exited the system due to one reason or the other.
Pardon me, those whom they're bringing in, are those like student doctors, like fresh out of
No, they are
Okay.
not student doctors.
Okay.
They are doctors that probably haven't gotten a job in the public health health
okay.
service.
Okay.
You understand? And then they are brought in to fill in the gap. Now, when those people are brought in, because of the desire to work in the public sector, you understand, in Nigeria, they're usually brought in with a promise that their employment will be regularized. And now, what do you mean by regularization of employment? That means that with time, they will be moved from that temporary appointment, you understand, and then they will be moved onto the eyepiece platform, because sometimes in 2016, 2017, government mandated that everybody on the government payroll must be on the eyepiece platform. That is part of the crisis that ASU is still having with government. You understand?
Yeah.
So now, before that is done, like I said, it takes about 2 months to 1 year because of the several administrative bottlenecks. Now, these doctors, like I said, are now in a quagmire. They're in a dilemma of where will their next salary come from. That is the usual problem. Now, these are some of the doctors that are still being owned salaries ranging from 2 months to 8 months right now. Those are the doctors that they call that are on the GIFMIS platform. So if you read some of our demands, you'll have seen that they said migration of our members from GIFMIS to the eyepiece platform. So that is what is actually the problem. You understand? So those doctors on GIFMIS platform are being owned salaries ranging from the duration that I said earlier. You understand? And then they need to be paid as well.
Okay.
Because they have rendered
services. Okay. I am due for another break. Please bear with me. When we come back, I want to ask you, why is their employment under contention? Because, hey, they were employed. Why is their employment under contention? Do you understand? Because you said that you were saying that some people are saying that they were not thoroughly employed. So I don't thoroughly understand that. So when we come back, you will do us the service of explaining that, and maybe that's it in hopes that you understand it. We're off on a break to bring you lost to the headlines on Nigeria Info. Don't go anywhere.
The Sunny Side with
The victim claims that her father raped her severally for over 3 months and threatened to kill her if she dared to tell anyone. Which kind of witchcraft is this? After several questioning, Jimoh confessed to the crime, claiming that he was used by the devil.
No worries.
Oga, you sure? The case has been transferred to the State Criminal Investigation and Intelligence Department for further questioning. Officers of Kwara State Police have arrested 2 young boys in their 20s for allegedly killing a girl in Ofa by severing her head and 2 hands for money ritual. The victim, identified as Reina Tisuf, had told her parents that she was going to buy kulikuli with which to drink gari, but never returned. After days of painstaking efforts of search, the police arrested the suspects, namely Femi Adeniyi and Shitu Abdul Malik. According to reports, Adeni produced the head of the victim and confessed to have sold one hand for 20,000 naira. Because of 20,000 naira, man killing fellow man. Now, wow. While Abdul Malik confessed that he had used the other hand for money making soap. And finally, there's good news for candidates who missed the West African Senior Secondary School Certificate Examination in the Southeast due to the now suspended stay-at-home order by the indigenous people of Biafra. I'm sure they are thanking their stars. The Federal Ministry of Education says it will put in place modalities to enable them to sit the examination. The Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Sonny Echono, made this known while monitoring some examination centers in Abuja yesterday. Recall that some hoodlums had disrupted the ongoing September 13 examination by the council in some parts of the Southeast on the pretext of the ongoing sit-at-home direction. I'm Yvonne Okaifo, and those are stories lost to the headlines.
The Sunny Side with Joyce.
.3 Nigeria Info, and you're on the sunny side. So I'm sharing with both Dr. Fred and Dr. Tokwe Johnson some of the complaints of doctors that I've received. By the way, hello, Dr. Fred. How are you?
Hi, Joyce. How have you been?
Yeah, so Dr. Fred is our in-house doctor. We have come to not just appreciate his work, but maybe also like him just a little bit.
A little bit.
No. Actually, we like you. Thank you very much, Dr. Tokwe, for hanging in there. So I was telling Dr. Fred that some doctors have said to me that if they get the opportunity, they're going to leave the country. And on one hand, I think I understand it. But on the other hand, I'm also thinking, how bad is it? Like, it cannot be so bad that you're thinking, well, I want to get away on the wind. Like, if there was a whistle that could blow me somewhere away from here, I'll go. Like, what is it that we don't know? Because I think that some things we don't know. And maybe if we knew, we could appreciate why doctors are on strike and have been on strike for this long.
Should I go ahead or you want to
So
call?
I think we want, let's hear you, then we'll also get something from Dr. Johnson.
Okay. Good afternoon, Chief. How are you doing, sir?
I'm fine. Thanks, Fred. Thanks for having me on the show.
This is my Oga here. So I worked with him too some time
Okay.
ago. Now, we have different levels of doctors. We have junior doctors, different levels, and we have the senior doctors. But generally, the practice of medicine in Nigeria, it's when you're being trained to be a doctor in Nigeria, you have these high expectations. That things you see.
Someone told me that.
But when you're done with your training and you see the system in the country, you're like, is this was this the expectation I had? And then you understand that there are nations that have this standard and even beyond what you ever imagined. As a doctor, you want excellence. See, I don't know about other health practitioners, but I know as a doctor, you want the best. That is the word, the best. And you won't settle for less. But in Nigeria, we are trained that sometimes we have to settle for less to help the patient.
What do you mean settle for less? Is it a lack of equipment, a lack of regard? So we've established lack of, or say poor payment or the absence of payment.
Yeah.
So when you say settle for less, what would that also imply?
Okay, so let me tell you, if you're having a health system, if you want to have a health system, a robust health system, you talk about financing, you talk about manpower, you talk about drugs, you talk about leadership, you talk about governance. Now, these stuff I've mentioned, we don't even have anyone, the building blocks of a health system. We don't want anyone functioning well. Let me tell you, in the area of manpower, first of all, in the area of manpower, doctors are humans, they're not robots. Health workers are humans, not robots. Now, you stress them to the point that they are prone to making errors.
Yeah.
How would a doctor... Let me paint this scenario for you so that you understand what I'm talking about. A doctor resumes by 8 a.m. in the morning, supposed to close by 4 p.m., right? And now he's on call. So he works from 4 p.m., to 8 a.m. the following morning. Now, this same doctor that finishes his call by 8 a.m. morning.
That's 24 hours already.
24 hours. We have to continue again from that same 8 a.m. to another 4 p.m. That's like 8, 9, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. So,
So wait. The doctor has already worked from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
to 4 p.m.
Then
and
what does it mean to be on call that makes him work from 4 to the next 8
So they
a.m.?
are called, you understand, night duties. We call them night duties,
Okay.
call doctors. So you close by 8 a.m. Now the system, you have to resume again 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. In some cases, that same 4 p.m. that you're supposed to go home, you continue from 4 p.m. to 8 a.m. again.
That's 72 hours.
That's 48.
Oh, that's 48
In some
hours.
cases, again, you continue from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
72 hours.
Yes, you work 72
No.
hours. Now, this thing I'm telling you, there are some doctors that have worked in a department alone for 3 months. They've not even been to their house. When they go to their houses, it looks strange to them.
They've been in the department for 3 months.
Walking back to back, back to back, back to back because shortage of manpower.
So a doctor, a Nigerian doctor in Italy, told me that he thinks the Nigerian health system is not ready. He says with the number of graduates out of the Nigerian university, how come manpower is a conversation? And that's really what you're repeating. Like, there's no manpower. But what happens to the graduate doctors that come out every year?
See, let me tell you how bad it is. Doctors still in medical school, not yet doctors, are preparing to leave. I don't know if this makes sense to you. I mean, they are not yet graduates.
Yeah.
They've not finished the medical training. But right in medical school, they are making plans to leave. See, I'm pained that the common man in the street does not understand what is going on.
We don't understand.
You don't really understand.
We
the
don't.
severity. It's until when it hits home, then you understand that something is actually wrong with the system. You see, let me tell you, doctors go out of their way to help patients. There are times doctors will tax themselves from the little salary that they don't have, or the little salary that they're not being paid, to help patients.
Dr. Johnson, do you have a similar experience?
Okay, let's say yes.
You're smiling. I don't know why you're smiling, but
You know, we are the younger ones who say he's the chief. He's been.
I don't know why you're laughing.
Well, helping patients is part of our calling, really. And that is why if you hear if you listen to the interview that the NMA president granted, and he says that we have been trained not to go on strike, it is true. Even taking annual leave is like it is somehow a bit emotional for us, because when we're at home, we're always thinking, what could I have done
To save someone.
to save someone? What could I have done to help the next patient better? And that is why our training is continuous. Our training is rigorous. That's the truth. And then it's part of the reason why in some part of the world, they believe that the doctor should not have any other thing to think of than the patient. So the government of the day in those countries decides that, hey, let us take off some of the burden of the doctors. Let's give them free housing in some countries. In some other countries, let's subsidize what they pay on housing. Let's provide bus shuttles for them, because we don't even want them to drive, because we know we can understand that they are thinking about what next to do for our patients, for our families in the hospitals.
Okay, so
These are some of the incentives that have been provided in those countries. And believe me sincerely, these incentives far outweighs what even you are being paid.
wow. I think we have a little.
Network H.
The doctor, if they actually wants to say bye-bye to the Nigerian health system.
Okay.
That's the truth.
So I want to share. Well, thank you, Dr. Fred. I think I'm going to ask you this question, and then I'm going to have your response before I ask Dr. Johnson. Dr. Fred, so I thought being a doctor, you had a kind of, maybe not a kind, you had insurance. And I'm surprised to learn that doctors, if they fall ill, have to pay their own medical bill. I thought that, well, doctors it's like, how are you selling food but you're hungry? And then a doctor said to me, no, if I fall ill now, I, like a patient, would have to go meet, a specialist and pay him what he's worth and then get treated. I said, no, but you should have a kind of insurance, something that says the privilege of being a doctor is that you don't get to pay for your own medical expense. So, Dr. Fred, what's your experience with that?
In this country, we have the private sector, we have the public sector, we have government and doctors working for the government.
Yeah.
We have doctors working in the private sector. So, we're talking about insurance. For those working in the government, they have this insurance scheme, the NHIS scheme. And when you talk about health insurance in Nigeria, some of us, we don't want to talk about it because it's a different ball game altogether. So someone could tell you you're registered under the health insurance. As a doctor, you're registered. But when you go in there, when you see the package under your insurance plan, it's poor. You wouldn't even give that to your house help.
Wow.
You get the picture right now.
I get it.
So I'm telling you, you're working for me. I'm putting you under an insurance plan. And when you go for the plan, maybe when you need care, and you see what is being given to you, you're like, oh, I deserve more. I give my patients better than this. Does that make sense to you? You give them better care than what the insurance plan is giving
Offering you
to you. That's for those in the government sector. Then for the privates, some people don't even have health insurance where they work. It should be a basic standard. These are the stuff he was talking
that's
about.
what I
the
thought.
Incentives. These are the incentives. So you don't tell someone that I'm giving you insurance. Oh, there's an insurance for you. What are the constituents? What are the components of that insurance? What do I gain in the insurance? So if you're telling me as a doctor, I'll be on insurance, I'm covered. What am I covered for? Am I covered for malaria? My insurance, you just discover that the only medications I can access under that insurance scheme will just be anti-malarials. And what if I deserve medications that are quite expensive?
or say for a disease or a health condition that's more severe.
Yeah, then they tell you, oh, you're not covered for that. So as doctors, there should be a minimum standard. And this is what Dr. Johnson was talking about, that the incentives, these are things you see that makes you forget about problems. You just want to concentrate on your patients.
Dr. Johnson, do you have an insurance cover, a health insurance cover, something that says, well, peradventure something happens to you, someone else is paying, well, the government is paying your bill? Don't laugh.
Well, presently, because the truth is that presently you will hear on the press or on the media that government provided some insurance for us as doctors. But I will take you back to our demands again. 21 as at present of our members are being hold what we call a death in service insurance. They paid the ultimate price for COVID, and till now, we are still slugging it out with governments to have those benefits paid. I mean, that speaks volume.
How long have you been?
Talk less of
Okay, you want to say something? Yeah, go ahead.
talk less of we that are
Still alive.
that are alive.
Yeah.
You understand? So yes, the truth is, in all sincerity, we're encouraged to be on the NHS scheme, which most of us are on. But just like Fred had said, it's not comparing to what the NHS, the NHIS is offering. I mean, well, to put it that way, that's just it.
Okay, you were going to say something.
I really don't want. I really don't want to compare economies. I really
So
don't
that's
want
the
to
problem.
compare countries.
If you
because
compare,
if we do, we will weep.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's
You
just
were going to finish your thought.
Most
Because
of
I want to
us-
ask you about your 5,000, this 5,000
Hazard allowance.
hazard allowance. Because I think you guys are hiding the other part of the money.
Which money is that, please?
Hazard allowance, because I hear doctors' hazard allowance is 5,000. Then I heard that it was reviewed and then upgraded. But I hear that some doctors are still on 5,000 hazard allowance.
Okay, so in case you didn't really understand what it means, the hazard allowance, as a doctor, you're exposed to hazards, infectious diseases. You work with HIV patients, you manage them. You manage
Corona.
hepatitis, corona, and the stuff. Now, what it simply means is that if during the point of your duty while at work, you get exposed to any form of infection, you're entitled to 5,000 naira for that hazard. Now, if the management of that condition will be 150,000 naira, you go sort that out for yourself, maybe from your salary, from whatever scheme you're under. But the price for being a doctor and for managing a patient, if anything happens to you, you're covered for 5,000. That's what.
Yeah, I was trying to link that to with the insurance. So I think that kind of just even gives us like the best reference point
Yeah.
to really understand
Now,
what the insurance
it shows,
cover really
it
is.
shows a system that cares about its people, that really understands the price that they are paying for managing patients that are very sick and with very highly infective conditions. Because if you understand that these people could even die at point of duty, then you would give them a package that would make them, they'll look at it and be like, even if I die at work, this is worth it. My family wouldn't suffer. But how will you tell a doctor? You know, I worked somewhere where my chief also worked, and a doctor died of Lassa fever. And that scenario changed a whole lot about me. A whole lot about how I see the system. And when my chief here said he's in the UK and he's going to come back, I'm like asking myself, come back to do what exactly? I don't understand.
Yeah.
What are we looking forward to that would give us that room and that confidence to want to come back and say, yes, we have the best brains, my dear. We have the best brains. We go out and come in here, but what do you have to look forward to? Say, okay, in the next 10 years, if I go and come back, I believe that the system is working, but you can't look forward to that. It doesn't on strike for 51 days. 51 days is never heard of in the world. Never heard of that doctors will go on strike 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Never heard of 51 days. And the system is not even tensed.
Yeah, so I think I've also noticed that it doesn't quite appear that
Do you understand?
we're in a hurry to stop
Nobody
this.
is in a hurry. You can't see the Minister of Health, the Minister of Labor. They're having back-to-back meetings. They're engaging enemy. We need this to be resolved. No.
Because there's a food chain of consequence here. There's a doctor who's saying, well, you don't have a problem watching me die, but there are patients, Nigerians, who, based on their income level, the spending power of the naira, and where they have found themselves as far as the economic structure in Nigeria goes, need doctors to get back to work because their children will fall ill, their wives are falling ill, husbands are falling ill, and it's not okay that we're not necessarily making a hurried decision towards fixing this problem. I want to go back to the question of manpower. What's wrong with that? Like, why is there a problem in the manpower structure? First of all, we have the population. And this is just a layman's observation of the picture. Yeah? We have the population. We have Nigerian graduates every year being churned out of university. So why is manpower a conversation? Do you get the because Dr. Fred is saying like some doctors are working 72 hours straight.
Yeah.
I think if you work 24 hours straight, you're already exhausted.
Sure.
Already exhausted. Then 48 hours, then 72 hours. Please, Dr. Johnson, could you speak on that?
Well, concerning the manpower problem, I think it has to do with the distribution of doctors. The truth is that we really, in the real sense, don't have enough doctors. No country in the world, sincerely, have enough doctors. But that being said, that of Nigeria is made worse because the few doctors that we have are concentrated in the peaceful, now underline that word, peaceful urban regions.
Okay.
That's the truth. I, as a doctor, for once, cannot go and work in some places that are not peaceful in Nigeria. If I have a friend, if I have a brother that is a doctor, I will not encourage such person to go work there. Because if anything happens to the person, the government will use it to calculate their statistics of people that are dead. But to my family, to myself, that statistic is 100%. So I won't do that. And I won't advise any of my colleagues to do that as well. But you will agree with me that there are patients in those areas as well.
Yeah, but
so to them, there's shortage of manpower.
Do we have enough doctors in Lagos, for example, or Abuja? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm coming there, Joyce. Secondly, the arms of government are not employing enough. The state government are not employing enough doctors. At least I've been opportune by the virtue of my position when I was in NAD to travel around at least most regions in the country. And I can tell you that in some states, the primary health center are non-functional. They are dead because there is no doctor, there is not any other health workers to run those primary health centers because the government have just refused to employ. And even if they employ, the few that they employ will not want to go to those places because the provision of basic amenities to make life easier in those communities are not available. No potable water, housing is very poor, security is on the verge of collapse. I mean, so you will not even be encouraged to go and work in those communities. So to those people, apart from that, the government is not employing enough, there is shortage of manpower. The same thing is happening in Lagos as well. I believe Lagos have got the capacity to employ a lot of doctors, but I can tell you that that is not the true story. There are still some PHCs in Lagos that are understaffed. I'm a Lagos boy as well. I grew up in Lagos, so I know what I'm saying. So when you now talk about the manpower shortage in the public health sector, those are the things that are responsible. Now, all these problems are now compounded with even the people in the public health sector. They are not being paid. No encouragement to work. I mean, your guess is as good as mine. If I have a better offer, I mean, I would gladly jump at it and take it.
Dr. Fred, this issue of manpower, do you have a perspective you want to share?
He has summed it all.
Because I'm also thinking that gap also gives way for quack doctors.
Sure.
I think that gap is feeding
Joyce,
a monster.
Hey God, I really don't know how to. I've been privileged, to interact with people because of what I do right now. Joyce, the level of quackery in this nation is beyond imagination, and nobody is addressing this.
I hope we address it because now I
No,
can.
listen, it's
Wow.
beyond we are addressing on lip service address. When we're talking about it, there are people that are being paid to ensure that this should not happen. But yet, it occurs everywhere. See, the doctor is stressed, and normally we don't expect the doctor to make mistakes, you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if for any reason he does make a mistake, the system comes after this doctor, you understand, to take over his license whatsoever. What about the quacks out there that are contributing to our high mortality rates? Who goes after them? Are they paying for this? We don't see it in the news, but when we hear about an institution that had a problem with patient management, somehow maybe negligence, we don't know how. You see it in the news, it makes headline, everybody talking about it. Yes, we've gotten a scapegoat. But there are people outside contribute massively to this mortality rate, whether infant, whether maternal, in whatever form, and nobody's talking about it. We are all talking about it. This is why we are just scratching the surface.
Do you know how? I don't know whether you would, but let me ask regardless, how the quacks get into the system. I mean, they're leveraging on something. Is it that there is not enough surveillance, or it's the fact that given the fact that there are loopholes to be filled, a quack doctor goes in there and nobody necessarily knows whether he's worth his onion or he's just there Frankenstein to kill somebody.
Whatsoever you are seeing today started years ago. It didn't just start today. It took time. So when you see a system that allows quacks to operate, it should mean that this should make you understand that they are now emboldened because they have seen that the system is weak to even track and monitor them.
Someone said that auxiliary nurses sometimes even operate at doctor level.
I don't want to make any comment on that. Trust me. On this platform, I'm not going to say anything about that. And let me just use the word quacks. Full stop. Let me not go there because I understand what it means. But really, it's a problem. And I tell people that contact me, like they say I go to the hospital, and I tell them, please ask please, someone has asked me before, are you the doctor here? What's your name? I told them my name is Dr. So and so.
Please hold on a second. I want you to finish that thought. We have to go from a break. We'll be right back. Nigeria Info.
Lagos, Nigeria's economic capital, Africa's seventh largest economy, over 10 million youth population, the land of opportunities. But how can you see and tap into the opportunities that abound in Lagos?
Oh,
Yeah,
Your
is what you
connection.
guys are talking about. Yeah, is what you guys are talking about. In similar, yeah. And what does professional quackery bring? And I have a patient who's got a stroke. The honest lies of me to stabilize that patient within the first 6 to 12 hours, and then get someone that is trained in the management of stroke to continue the management of that patient and also be involved in the rehabilitation of that patient. Now, if I don't do that, I have committed quackery, even though I'm a qualified, trained doctor. And that is what is even being looked at right now. So nobody is even talking about not being a doctor attending to patients again. But like I said, it's a pity that that is what we have, that we are still battling with.
And so what gives room for that is the
Our country.
absence of maybe enough doctors to whom you can refer a special case to.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
There's a vacuum.
Exactly.
There's a vacuum.
And
It's a
then
terrible vacuum.
there's a vacuum.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is what we have right now. And that is what we are still battling.
Why
Battling with.
why do you think it's difficult? I don't think it's difficult, but I'm going to ask regardless, and this is how I'm going to put it. Is it difficult to get professionals? Because I don't know why I think, well, every year there's graduates out of universities and then they go for housemanship. So certainly there a number of them are specializing. So how come there's still that vacuum, and why is that a problem? Do you think you might be able to answer that?
Yes, as long as we continue the way we are doing in the health sector in Nigeria, that vacuum can only get larger.
Wow.
That's the truth. Yes, because I cannot spend X number of years, and when I mean X number of years, the minimum is 4 to 5 years in training, and then I will now still have to be negotiating where my salary will be paid.
Well, you say 4 to 5 years. So give us a rough idea. Because I think when you say 4 to 5 years, a doctor said that usually the average doctor spends longer than that in training from university.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. So how long on average?
I don't even want to count how many years that you spend in the university, because on the average, you're expected to spend 6 years in the university.
But is that
On the average,
okay?
As for your undergraduate training, and for your postgraduate training, it varies depending on the specialty.
Average.
So on the average, you spend close to another 6 years. That's on the average. Some are lesser, some are
more
higher than that. For example, in neurosurgery, you spend 9 years in training, averagely. You understand? So you don't expect me to invest 12 years, 12 productive parts of my life into training, and then we are still grappling over when salaries will be paid, whether my employment is recognized, is regularized or not, whether I'm still where my next salary will come from, and stuff like that. So I mean, that's just it.
Are there doctors who are taking advantage of the problem, like good old qualified doctors, but given the fact that they're not being paid, unfortunately, now they're being forced to, I don't know, exploit the system? Have you observed that?
I can't actually speak for I can't speak for another doctor. I can only speak for myself. The system could push you to the wall. The system, when I say the system, I mean the management, the way the patient comes to you, what you need to do. And if you're not careful, if you really don't stand on your principles, there are stuff you could do, even as a professional. That was what he was talking about, professional quackery. Yeah. So in that regard, yeah, it could happen. And it does happen.
I get surprised, for example, and now that it's even crossed my mind, let me even bring it up. I get surprised when they say that there's some medications not available in the hospital. Why? Like you go to a clinic and then they say, oh, well, we don't have that. Oh, we don't have syringe. Oh, we don't have oxygen. We don't have that. And sometimes these are like the most immediate, say, medical materials. He's smiling again. Yeah, sure. Please, would you answer that? Like, why is there absence of necessary materials in hospitals to attend to patients?
Well, everything has to still boils down to, like I said, the lip service that we keep paying to the attendance of our health in our country. The first question I will ask us is, what percentage of our yearly budget is voted to health? WHO have said every developing country should at least commit 15% of their yearly national budget to the maintenance of health. I don't think we've gotten above 4% in Nigeria since I've become an adult. And I've become an adult for quite a number of years right now. So you can work out the maths of what is expected. That is one. Two is that the little resources that is even voted to the health sector, how is it being managed? Those are some of the issues. Thirdly is that it's just pure economics if the demand of a product is higher than the supply, you are bound to have shortages. And you will agree with me that the demand for the maintenance of health is quite high in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And so if the supply is not meeting with the demands, then it's not rocket science. You will definitely have shortages. And that explains the reason why you are seeing all that you are seeing. We understand. So that is the truth. And then I want to throw this back to the Nigerian populace. The truth is that don't let us always be carried away, especially during campaign for elections, when they said, I will do road, I will fix health, I will do this, I will do that. The onus lies on us as Nigerians to ask, please, Mr. So-so-so or Honorable so-so-so, how do you intend to fix health? Give us a roadmap, give us a blueprint, so that 2 years down the line, when you are celebrating your 100 days, your 150 days in office, we should be able to go back to that blueprint and say, okay, of a truth, this is how far you have taken us. Of a truth, this is what you have done. This is what you have done. We should be able to hold ourselves accountable. I think if we do that, there will be, you will notice some improvements.
Changes.
In all sincerity, some government officials are trying. Some governors are trying, especially in the attendance and maintenance of health for their citizenry in Nigeria. I will not want to mention names because I don't want to be labeled a political affiliate or something like that. But of a truth, some of them are doing their best, despite the lane resources that the country is having. But what we are saying is that majority are not just doing enough. And we believe that we can do more. Because the truth is that the health of your citizens is their fundamental human right, and you must attend to that.
And you must attend to that. But just before I let you go, so a doctor said, well, this is the money that we get paid. And his view, he said, it is not enough. And he says, I'm not being greedy. This is the spending power of this money. He says, I have 3 kids. I have to pay rent. This is how many hours I work. And I don't want you thinking that as a Nigerian, I'm being self-centered. He said, but if you do the math, I am underpaid. And I, for a moment, saw it from his angle, that he was really underpaid. But then I also had to consider the economic, the revenue power of Nigeria. And I want to know what you doctors think about it. I want to know what you think about it.
Okay, let me go first. First of all, you can't even pay a doctor.
What do you mean by that?
You can't. Anywhere in the world. What the services doctors give,
Yeah.
you can't really measure it with finance. You can't say this is your worth as a doctor.
Okay.
Because there are times the doctor needs to be at sleep, but he's working.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
From that regard. So you can't really say, but there are basic things doctors need. And this is being given to them in different parts of the world. It's been provided for them, at least the basic amenities they need. They need housing, they need shelter, being able to afford.
Look, for me, I think health insurance, to be honest with you, I'm personally surprised that a Nigerian doctor is paying his own health bill. I am personally surprised.
What I'll tell you, you can invite any of the guys in the health insurance stuff to come defend this. Maybe then doctors will say, oh, sorry, we never knew that we were entitled to this.
Now that you mention it, I might consider
invite them now.
Yeah.
Because most times when you say things like this, it looks like you're just coming to sell one propaganda somewhere to just paint somebody black and they are working. So they could come up and say, I don't like what you're talking on the radio. We want to come clear our name. Let him come. And doctors will be listening.
I want to hear it because I cannot believe that a doctor would maybe have an accident and he's going into his bank account to get money to pay for that.
Let me share with you one very bad experience. But I believe he's getting the best care he deserves right now. There was a doctor colleague of ours that was involved in an accident. We had to raise money for him.
As colleagues?
Doctors raised money for him on the platform. So on the WhatsApp platform, different doctors had to send, gather the amount of money and send over to him because he needed specialist care. Haven't you seen also on social media GoFundMe for medical doctors?
I've not seen it.
Come on, but I don't understand.
Really?
Joyce, see, even as a doctor, you pray not to fall sick because we know the system we operate in. So don't be carried away and think that because I'm a doctor, oh, I'm entitled, my dear. You'll be shocked. Really, you'll be shocked. We pray, doctors pray, God, may I not fall sick. Even as you're taking care of people, you pray, God, as I take care of them, me too. Just one, we suck that little amount you think you have in your account.
Yeah.
We drain it because there's nothing to help you to cushion this pressure on you, the system. Nowhere.
So Dr. Johnson, you're in the UK to gain more training, and the love of your country is the reason for which, after your training, you want to come back. So I can't quite say I'm afraid for you because I'm a Nigerian too, and I'm very much in your shoes. But what are you doing that we need to do? Because apparently there's something you're doing which we're not doing, or is this just pure love for the country that you're willing to lay down your life for your brother? Why are you laughing?
Well,
That's
the
truth.
life of a doctor truly is a life of service. That's just the truth. And really, I just believe that wherever you come from is part of your civic and social responsibilities to give your quota back as much as you can, and that has been at the corner of my mind to always do. So I'll surely do that. There are different ways that you can contribute into the
So even though you don't have health insurance, and that's my own personal concern, well, God forbid something happens to you, then we're going to have a GoFundMe for you, and you're not bothered about yourself.
Yeah, well, the truth is that, like I said, we have health insurance, but it's nothing to write home about, like I said.
Yeah, we know that.
It's still part of contributing your quota and trying to improve that. I've always believed that things will not be like this forever, especially in Nigeria. Yeah.
I was going to ask about the strike, but I think I know how you feel.
Things will definitely get better. That's the truth.
And you are very sure you're coming back after all of this. You're sure you're coming back.
Like I said, I'll definitely come back and contribute my quota.
Oh, that's very humbling.
Yeah.
And I'm very sure other doctors who are hearing this are equally motivated. But last question, I promise you, this strike has been ongoing. And I know that if I asked you, so how do you feel about the strike? You're going to say, well, of course we don't like it. But to some degree, you need to be heard. So are you, as a doctor, saying, well, unfortunately, this is what we must do, and the strike should continue? Would you say that?
Well, I'll start by apologizing to all Nigerians that we're on strike. And the truth is that it's a painful one. That's the truth. But I think whatever is worth doing at all is worth doing. We must do it well. And then I can only pray that government yields to our minimum demands, because now we are not even agitating for the 12 demands again, because of the last press release that I read from NAD, we are now talking about minimum demands. We can only plead with government to speedily implement those minimum demands so that hopefully by the end of this annual general meeting that is going on in Bauchi, we all can come back to work and then attend to our patients.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Fred. I want to get final words from you, particularly as it concerns this strike.
Right now, Nigerians are losing their loved ones on a daily basis because doctors are not at work. It's sad. No doctor would be happy that people are dying when you know you could do something to help them. And the question we keep hearing is, this is not the right time. There's no perfect time for strike. We've gotten to a point where we just need to speak. The people in charge of the affairs of this nation need to wake up.
You know, I was thinking about the doctors whom Dr. Johnson mentioned, the doctors who have not been paid. He said he knows a junior colleague who hasn't been paid since February. And in my head, I'm thinking, how does he feel?
And this is what they're telling you: go back to work and come back to the negotiation table. So, what are you going back to work with? By the way,
Yeah.
What are you going back? Oh, right now I've been given something to help me go home and tell my family this is what you gain for having a father that's a medical doctor, or having a
Her
brother
husband that's a
doctor
medical doctor, yeah.
So there is nothing to hold on to. If you're telling them to call off the strike, give them something. Nigerians need health care. Joyce, people are dying and it's painful. You understand? It's really, really sad. I pray that this is why I'm so pained also that the Nigerian populace are just there. It doesn't concern me. It's not my business. It's the business of doctors.
I also think it's because we don't know.
But how come? But we're always talking about it, even on this platform. Always, almost every day, on different belts, talking about the strike. And yet you see people on the street. That's not my business. Next thing you hear is, God go help all of us. Not something must kill a man. But when that thing now finally appears, and you need the doctor to take care of you, you discover that there is nobody there, and that is when you understand that you are in a deep mess. So please, everybody, put hands together, put force together, and press on the government to ensure that they meet the demands of NAD and everybody come back to work.
And it doesn't even look like the doctors are asking for too
Not
much.
much.
To be honest with you,
Minimum
because when I think about 5,000 naira,
Hazard allowance.
but hold on, wait, doctors, but it was reviewed. It was reviewed.
When you say reviewed, when, where, to what?
Some people said that they increased it. Dr. Johnson, yeah.
Okay, let me come in concerning the hazard allowance, because I remember that was still unofficial. I was still part of I was still in NAD when that was being spoken about. Now, what really happened was that our hazard allowance still remains 5,000 naira since I think 1991 or 1995. I can't remember the exact date now when that was implemented. So what happened was that at the peak of the COVID pandemic, the government met and they discovered that, hey, let's give doctors some inducement so that they'll be more encouraged to face
work.
this deadly virus, in which, as at that time, we didn't even know what we were battling against. We were just trying to manage patients based on the symptoms and the signs that they present. All over the world, health professionals were rattling their head on how to combat this issue and manage this condition. So government decided that, okay, let us give them what is called the COVID inducement allowance. So if that is what the public has termed a review, well, I'm sorry to say, it is not a review. It was just an inducement which was paid for 3 months, which was against the backdrop of the initial agreement that we had, because the initial agreement that we had was that that money was going to run for 6 months. But it was just paid for only
3 months.
3 months. Now, even some health professionals that were excluded or that were omitted either by error or I don't know, are now just receiving their own alerts some few days back, because I got wind of the information that some health professionals are just getting their COVID-19 inducement allowance some few days back. So in the real sense, the hazard allowance has not been reviewed, even though, in all sincerity, on the part of government, negotiations are ongoing. But as I speak with you at this moment, the hazard allowance still remains the same, and it still remains 5,000 naira.
How much is the hazard allowance in the UK? Someone on WhatsApp is asking us to ask you, how much is hazard allowance in the UK?
Okay. Okay. The truth is that hazard allowance is not, there is no money being tagged hazard allowance in the UK.
Okay.
So if I show you my payslip, or if anybody in the NHS in the UK shows you their payslip, you will never see anything like an hazard allowance.
Okay.
There. So how the system runs in the UK is that everything is being paid together as a lump sum.
Oh.
So what you will just see is what is called salary. And then the next thing you will see is the number of hours worked.
Okay.
So you are paid based on the number of hours that you work. But in that payment, everything is in it, because in your terms of agreement, you understand what that salary covers is listed there.
Oh, okay.
You understand? So in
Okay.
your terms of agreement, your salary will cover your hazard allowance. It will cover what you're actually being paid, and every
Housing
other
and
allowances that you are-
overtime. Okay.
housing and every other thing that
Oh.
you are entitled to. So that is that is it.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Fred, for being here.
My pleasure.
And we want to have doctors like you in the country. And I hope that the little you have shared with us today helps us thoroughly see from the perspective of the doctors to support you. And hopefully we pray we don't fall ill doing so, just so that, well, we hope that we achieve a nation where our doctors are at work and the people have doctors to attend to them. I do appreciate your presence, Dr. Fred. Thank you very much, Tokwe Johnson Omokende, for joining us today on the show. It has
Thank
been
you,
our
Joyce.
pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, Lagos, Nigeria.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
We are
thank
off
you
on a
very much.
break. We'll be right back.